Right, welcome to the inspection video for number 6 Vale Street in Skye. I'll just pan around so you can get a bit of a feel for the street. That's the subject house there, so it's set well below street level. There's only about 5 houses on the street. All the other houses are well obscured by way of bushland and vegetation. The road down is really only a single roadway servicing the small amount of houses on the street. On the high side of the road you've sort of got a bit of an embankment, but nothing visible in terms of housing. If I continue up the road here, you'll get a bit of an idea as to the contour of the block. So you've got 2 houses further up and a little vehicle turnaround area at the top of the street, which is reasonably tight. I had to do a 3-point turn in my car just to spin around. And then we've got the subject driveway. It's exposed aggregate, and we've got a contemporary style carport. Reasonably steep driveway here, so might be interesting reversing out of the driveway and spinning around onto the street. So I would suggest that it's probably a case where you go up to the top of the street, turn around, and then actually reverse back down the driveway. As you can see, there's quite a bit of slope on the block. You've got rainwater tanks and your ETSA board up here on the driveway. You've got solar panels on the roof of the carport, and obviously you've got a pretty impressive outlook back down across the plains in between the ridge lines here. A little bit of a negative is the power poles on the far side, which is not uncommon in the hills. At least they're not the high voltage transmission lines, which are a hell of a lot bigger. Just give you a bit of more of a close up of the carport here. Sloped roof. You've got the lift in the corner. There looks to be a bit of water damage on the ceiling here. You've got water staining, but you've also got some darker spots which may indicate mould. May be worth asking whether there's been a roof repair in more recent times. If not, there's going to be some cost there to repair. I'll just give you the pan around from inside the carport and show you the contour back up the driveway. It shows you what you're dealing with when you are manoeuvring your vehicles. Again, you've got the main switchboard there. Over in this corner, we've got bottled gas supply, so there's no mains gas up in the Adelaide Hills, or generally speaking. And obviously your tank water supply there. Now, you can see the contour of the block. It's been cut there. It's quite steep. And then again, quite steep contour down to the side path, which is why there doesn't appear to be a lot of yard on the floor plan, and why the 1800 square meters is not all usable. I'll just give you the lift operation. Single button there. Again, give you an idea how quick it is. There's actually a depression here in the lift floor. Not sure what's going on there, but you might just pay to ask why there's a soft spot in the floor. There we go, on the ground floor, out to the main door. And I guess if you don't want to use the lift, you can use the hardwood stairs there. Now the house itself, architectural in style, mix of cedar, which is intentional, and rendered hebel. And to give you an idea, it's been done untreated, and so on the right there is the original cedar colour, and on the left is obviously the weathered finish, and that's done intentionally as a bit of an architectural feature, I guess, so that it will change colour over time. I mean, you can obviously sand it back and stain it to the original colour there. Around here, the side path, You've got a nice solid rendered masonry retaining wall. Looks to be in good order. Bit of native landscaping, low maintenance, and down the side here you've got the clothesline. You've got the gas boosted solar hot water system, and you've also got the Actron condenser unit for the ducted reverse cycle. For a walk down the other side path, note the side paths of gravel there. I'll give you a bit of a look up to the top of the block there. Again, tanks. Gardens are sort of native, relatively low maintenance, and you could rip those out and replant, but soils are a bit of sand and rock up here, so you're not going to be able to do a lot. Fencing, sort of industrial style chain mesh fencing. You've got a bit of pull fencing here on the side. You've actually got no side path down this side of the house, so that might be something to factor into your costs, putting in a set of stairs or something of that order. Obviously they've established the block here with some veggie patches. You've actually got a hose reel on this side of the house and a second condenser unit for the reverse cycle air conditioning. I'll come around here and give you a bit of a front on as to the scale and size of the house. It's actually a very wide house. It's been done intentionally, obviously, to take advantage of the aspect that it's got here. Again, in the hills there's no main sewer, so what you've got is an EnviroCycle septic system. So all your toilet waste and sink waste disposed to these units. It's basically treated with bacteria and then discharged into the garden. And if you have a look down here, you'll actually see the contour of the site. Most of this is unusable. You've got gates down the bottom there, which look like they open up onto the scrub reserve, and a few olive trees. But for the main part, you are relatively unestablished here. There's a little patch of grass here, which is reasonably level. Fairly low maintenance front yard. You've got a little paved patio here. You've got some feature lighting. As you can see on the outside with these rendered panels, sometimes with a little bit of movement, they're prone to cracking. There are some joins. Joins are actually under the windows here, and then you've got cracking in places that the sheets butt up against each other. So whether that's a detractor for you, I guess you can be the judge of that. Down on the lower level here, a bit of a putting green. If John's a bit of a golfer, and I'll just pan around here. So this is the view from the lower level front yard, and it's actually a magnificent day up here to take full advantage of it. Alright, we'll head inside. I said we were going to head inside, but I thought I'd better show you the underside of the house. There's a bit of storage underfloor here. There's a steel frame structure. It's obviously been done because the site was too steep to lay a slab. So the good part about that is plumbing is easily accessed. You've got a further rainwater tank underneath, and if you look up here, there's actually a bit of moisture, which is natural. Obviously the water's going to run down. It's quite damp. And around here on the right, got a garden shed. And that doorway is just under a balcony, which is probably off one of the bedrooms. I thought I'd better give you just a quick view of some of the fire features on the house. Obviously you've got sprinklers there on the rooftop with a dedicated water supply, and that will obviously fill the gutters with water in the event of a bushfire and prevent any embers in the gutter from catching alight. There's also steel gutter guard in the gutters themselves, which will prevent leaf build up. It's also handy to not have to clean the gutters out themselves. Obviously being a modern build, you're gonna have to have complied with the relevant fire code at the time, so it's probably got toughened glazing. All the external materials need to have a certain burn rating. which would have had to be signed off by council. So you're reasonably well protected, although in the event of a catastrophic bushfire, you're going to be heading back down the hill anyway and seeking refuge.